Hi and welcome. We're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you for being here at the inaugural Southeastern Illinois Regional Women's Conference. I am Leslie Hipsher, and I am the Executive Director of the Wabash County Chamber of Commerce here in Mount Carmel, Illinois. I have worked for the Chamber for the past 11 and a half years, so that makes me the OG of our directors group, and I will go ahead and invite the other directors to come up with me, and we'll all do a brief introductory of ourselves. I was just telling one of my board members this week that I still think that I'm 22, but my wrinkles say otherwise, and I think they're smile wrinkles, so I'm going to start trying to smile less. So we'll see how that goes. He did advise against my plan, but that's okay. We have a great morning planned for you. Today is International Women's Day, so how great is that to all be here gathered together? I started inviting this group of ladies together a couple of years ago, and we not only wanted to network and share ideas, but we also wanted to share some of our struggles and just support each other in everything that we have going on. A lot of times we just need someone to talk to and to bounce ideas off of, and it's been very valuable for me, and I hope that they can say the same. We are going to take turns introducing ourselves, but I am going to say my very first minute on the job in September of 2012 was an on-air live interview with our local radio station. So you think like, oh, no pressure there. You really didn't have anything to say. You didn't know what you were doing yet, which was very true. So I am going to introduce the Carmi Chamber Director, Megan Newman, and her first day on the job was Monday. So we don't want to throw her under that same bus and say, Megan, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're up to. And she's going to say, well, I know where my office is. And so anyway, and then also a shout out to Katie Lambert from the Richland County Chamber. She last minute was not able to join us today, but we still want to give her a shout out. So I will let the ladies introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is Jessica Evans. I don't really need this. My name is Jessica Evans, and I am the president of the Albion Area Chamber of Commerce. I've been president for 4 years as of 2 days ago. And so I'm a COVID president. So my first year on the job, we didn't do anything. In the last 4 years, we have gone from 30 paid members to 115 at the end of last year. We've experienced exponential growth, and we hope to keep reaching for the top. You'll hear more about me later. I'm on your program, so I'm not going to bore you. Hi, I'm Michelle Burton. I am the program director for the Albion Area Chamber of Commerce. I've been at this job for 2 years. And like Jessica said, we have grown so much and we have put on so many different events and had just a great time. I mean, we work with a great crew. We really do. So thank you.
Hello, I am Anna Rayones, the Chamber Executive over at the Flora Chamber of Commerce. And I recently just celebrated my 1-year anniversary there back in February, and I'm still learning the job and don't know what I'm doing. But that's okay. I have this group of ladies that I can run to with questions, and of course, going to Leslie, the OG, for anything else I need.
Good morning, Amy Seed from Lawrence County Chamber of Commerce. I've only been with the chamber now for a little over 6 months, so Megan's got me beat now. Just trying, like Anna, just trying to learn. I feel like once I have a year under my belt, I'm hoping I know a little bit more, but yeah. But I appreciate all these ladies here, just connecting with them and bouncing ideas and just having some ladies that I can relate to the same job. So I hope you guys enjoy today.
Good morning. I'm Libby Lingafelter and I'm from Fairfield. I have been in the job for a little over 2 years. So as you can see, Leslie is really the OG because we're all fairly new. They can't get rid of me. And we appreciate it because I tell Pia is interning with me this year from Germany and nobody can explain a chamber job. I tell her all the time, it's like, we're juggling plates all day and about this one's about to hit the floor, so we're gonna throw it up really high, and we're gonna start all over again. And you just keep doing that every day because no one can prepare you for what's gonna happen the next day. Because 1 minute you're planning a big thing like this, and the next minute you're putting a bow on a present or sweeping up cleaning the bathrooms in your downtown. Whatever anyone in your community needs, that's what you do. And so I'm honored to be here. I thank Leslie for all of her hard work and look forward to hosting next year. So hope you enjoy the day.
I really like Libby's analogy there. I always tell people some days it's like having 300 best friends, you know, depends on how many members you have. And some days it's like having 300 ex-wives. You just don't know which day it's gonna be. Is everyone coming for you or is everyone really happy with you? So we are now going to thank our breakfast sponsors, Citizens Bank, Wabash, Greater Wabash Regional Planning Commission, Mount Carmel Stabilization Group, Mount Carmel Public Utility, and Cafe 823.
Citizens National Bank of Albion is this area's 5-star and most trusted banking partner. Citizens sets the standards in banking excellence and personal customer care with all the latest products, services, and technologies as the big banks. Citizens also has a fast track to successful career for our area young adults in a variety of segments from marketing to lending to IT to bank security and all sorts of exciting career paths in between. Citizens National Bank of Albion, no better banking, member FDIC. And the Greater Wabash Regional Planning Commission, the GWRPC includes Southeast Illinois counties of Crawford, Edwards, Lawrence, Richland, Wabash, Wayne, and White. They develop and update the comprehensive economic development strategy for our region. We are thrilled to work with this organization as their mission and goals are in line with those of all of our region Chamber of Commerce's. Thank you.
Angie knows from the Greater Regional Wabash Planning Commission, I gave it to Michelle because I can't ever say the name right. I mess it up every single time. Okay, so Mount Carmel Stabilization Group is North America's leading soil stabilization contractor. In addition to work that they do for building construction, highways, and airports, they also have an oil and chip division. They perform work on county roads across 9 counties in our local area. Their history stretches back to 1918 when the company was founded as Mount Carmel Sand and Gravel. They're headquartered here in Mount Carmel, Illinois. They also have offices in Ohio and Kansas, which helps them facilitate the work that they perform throughout the United States. The core focus of their team is to set the standards in soil stabilization by building long-term relationships with their customers and employees. In 2023, they celebrated their 3rd straight year of installing 1 million tons of material, which is an unmatched achievement in soil stabilization. Fun fact, I was an intern at Mount Carmel Sand and Gravel when it was back in Sand and Gravel in the early 2000s. So I know a lot of their employees still to this day, and I enjoy going in there and chatting with them a little bit. And also, we'd like to thank breakfast sponsor, Mount Carmel Public Utility. In 2023, it marks the 110th year anniversary of our local electric and gas provider in Mount Carmel. They focus on safe and reliable delivery of energy. They value the importance of education, support the community in which they live and serve, and they're proud of their hardworking employees. Annually in the fall, they host a half marathon that brings runners in from all over the region, and that also provides an economic boost to our local economy. All the proceeds raised go to local charities. In 2023, Mount Carmel Public Utility was named the Wabash County Chamber of Commerce Business of the Year. Mount Carmel Public Utility is proud to serve the energy needs of their neighbors, families, and friends. And Also, we'd like to thank Cafe 823. They provided the pastries and the coffees this morning, and so we hope you had a chance to enjoy them. I know I did. We're gonna go ahead and do our first door prize. So I'm going to draw a number, get your tickets out. Okay, the last 3 digits of the winner of the first door prize is 448. Come on up. And while we're picking out the door prize, I'm gonna let the tech go ahead and do the art of taking a compliment. This is a presentation by Louise Acree. She is going to talk about the art of taking a compliment, and she is the first lady of Wabash Valley College. She worked at WVC since the first day they were in existence in 1961. She is retired from day-to-day operations, but she still serves on their foundation and does many events and activities with WVC. She's also a lifetime member of the Wabash County Chamber of Commerce, and we're very thrilled to have her uplifting words today.
Welcome to our Southeastern Illinois Regional Women's Conference, hosted by our Wabash County Chamber of Commerce. I proudly served on our chamber board for many years, serving as president and also as chairman of our Secretary's Day for many years. I have a special affection for our chamber and all that they do in serving our county and our community. I so much wish that I could be here with you. However, due to health reasons, I cannot. But I do want to welcome you to our beautiful Brubeck Arts Center and our beautiful WVC campus. I have a very special place in my heart for WVC since I was a member of the WVC staff for 60 years, beginning on the opening of classes in August 1961 until August 2021. I continue to serve on the WVC Foundation since 1969 and the Wabash Valley Arts Council Board. Leslie asked me to speak about the art of a compliment, and I'm very happy to speak about something which is very important to me. The importance of paying a compliment was first given to me by my second grade teacher, Mrs. Estelle Buchanan. Little did I know as a young girl how important this would be to me. I remember her telling us how nice it is to pay someone a compliment and that it would make us feel just as good as the recipient of the compliment. The art of giving a compliment is an art. A compliment can have a powerful and long-lasting effect on the recipient of the compliment. A compliment can turn a bad day into a good day. A compliment can transform your mood, can inspire happiness, and bring a smile. During a time of economic crisis and depressing news, 2 students at Purdue University decided to lift the spirits of people on campus with encouraging words. For 2 hours every Wednesday afternoon, Cameron Brown and Brett Westcott stood along a busy walkway, holding a large free compliment sign and saying nice things to everyone who passed by, like, "Oh, I really like your red coat. Cool snow boots. You have a very nice smile." And some students said they deliberately walked past the compliment guys every Wednesday just to hear a kind word. Kind words may be free, but they give a priceless lift to the recipient's spirit. A gentle word of complimenting folks carries great weight. Always remember that. Do all you can in all ways you can for all the people you can while you can. People may forget what you said to them or what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel. A compliment can do just that. It can make people feel better. Let no one come to you without leaving feeling better and happier. Remember, it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. Nice to be important, but more important to be nice. Be the living expression of God's kindness in your face, in your eyes, and in your smile. It was Helen Keller who said, "The best and most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or even touched, but they're felt in the heart." I want to share a couple of examples of paying a compliment and not paying one. We were having dinner one evening at Cheddar's in Evansville, and our waitress was excellent. When she handed us our ticket, I told her what an outstanding job she had done and how wonderful she made our dining experience. She was so excited, giving a big smile and telling us that our table was her last one for the day, and now she could leave work with such a great feeling. That made our day, and that made her day, I know. On another occasion, at a different restaurant, as we were seated, we could hear this woman speaking very loudly while berating a young waitress and complaining about everything, perhaps hoping for a free dinner, who knows. As the young lady left and walked near us, I motioned her to come over. I patted her hand and told her that the woman was certainly out of line and should be ashamed. I told her that I did not know what had transpired, but that she should not let that woman ruin her day. She left with a smile and thanked me. She felt better, and so did I. How many times in our lives have we left an opportunity pass by us for giving a compliment? Let each of us remember to always seize any opportunity we may have to turn a bad day into a good day and bring a smile to someone's face. They will feel better, and so will you. I think that each of us could think of opportunities when we could have helped to turn a bad day into a good day for someone. And it's so easy to do. Athletes, cheerleaders, band members, honor roll students, all students, teachers, parents, children of all ages. The list goes on and on. Everyone deserves a compliment at some time in their lives. No one is too young, no one is too old to enjoy and benefit from a compliment. Many things in life are short-lived, but a compliment can last a lifetime for many people. One of the things that Dr. Norman Vincent Peale says in his Power of Positive Thinking is to believe in yourself. Build self-confidence. Do not try to copy others. Be yourself. Remember, there's only one you. Think about that. By the way, that did not just happen. It was planned. This was planned. And God planned that way because he wanted you to be you. He designed you to be a unique individual. You are important, and don't try to be somebody else. You can only expect to be second best somebody else, but you can be number one you. And remember, life is God's gift to you. The way you live your life is your gift to God. Make it a fantastic gift. And remember to share this fantastic gift by making others feel better. Pay a compliment to someone every day. And I want to compliment each of you for what I know you do for your chamber and for your community you serve. Take a bow for a job well done. I compliment you. Thank you.
Personally, I always love to hear Louise speak, even just over the phone. We chat a lot, and she always makes me feel better about myself and the job I'm doing. So we always appreciate Louise. We're going to do our second door prize of the day. Amy's going to come up and see who the next lucky prize winner is.
All right, last three numbers, 408.
Natalie, come on up. If you guys know anything about us chamber directors, we take pictures of everything because we have a lot of people we have to constantly thank in our lives. So everyone has to stop and take a picture. Okay, next we are going to thank our corporate sponsors, and then we will go ahead and do some more of our speakers. One of our corporate sponsors today is Wabash General Hospital. They are a critical access hospital located in Mount Carmel, Illinois. They provide quality health care to Wabash County residents and many in our surrounding area. Since 1951, their physicians, nurses, and staff have provided high-quality, compassionate, and cost-effective health care to our residents of Wabash County and the surrounding areas. At Wabash General, they put the patient at the center of everything they do, which is the foundation of their motto, people you know, helping people you love. They have won countless awards, but two they pride themselves on is the Best Place to Work in Illinois Award and the Modern Healthcare Best Place to Work in 2023 Award. Their main location is in Mount Carmel, Illinois, but they also have clinics in Albion, Carmi, Grayville, Flora, Lawrenceville, and they will have a location in Albany coming soon. As well as they have athletic trainers in 16 different high schools and colleges in our region. So they're very helpful and try to partner with other communities and other clinics and hospitals to further rural services. Also, another corporate sponsor is First National Bank of Allendale. They were first in operation in Allendale, Illinois, starting in 1906. In July of 1984, the bank began construction of a full-service facility in Mount Carmel. In 2016, the First National Bank completed its first acquisition of way of merger with First State Bank in West Salem. In 2019, they completed construction on a new loan and deposit production office in Carmi, Illinois. In 2023, they purchased the Wabash Savings Bank in Mount Carmel, and this merged the two oldest financial institutions in Wabash County. The First National Bank remains locally owned and locally managed, an independent financial institution. The bank is owned by Allendale Bank Corp. Incorporated, a one-bank holding company whose home office is also located in Allendale, Illinois. The company has approximately 268 shareholders, 90% of whom live within a 25-mile radius of the bank. From the initial capitalization of $500,000 in 1906, the bank has grown to approximately $360 million in total assets and is the largest financial institution headquartered in Wabash County. Now, Libby will do two more corporate sponsors.
Fairfield Hospital, a 25-bed critical access hospital located in El Dorado, Illinois. They are dedicated to improving the health and quality of the life and people in their communities in southeastern Illinois. Services include emergency care, laboratory, imaging, rehabilitation, breast services, general surgery, orthopedics, podiatry, urology, wound care, respiratory, ear, nose, and throat, and more. Farrell has over 40 doctors and advanced practice providers who make up 5 primary care clinics and specialty services. Farrell is accredited with the Accreditation Commission for Healthcare. First Bank is another corporate sponsor. On this International Women's Day and every day, First Bank salutes the women of the tri-state who are taking care of business. After all, when women thrive, our communities, our homes, and our families thrive too. First Bank is proud to be a sponsor and attendee at today's Southeastern Illinois Regional Women's Conference, supporting the success and achievements of local women. Get to know First Bank at myfirstbank.com. Or, I'm sorry, myfirst.bank.
See, all the things I struggle with, I hand over to someone else. That's the trick of the host. I am proud to introduce our next speaker. She will be speaking about women in business. Krista Turner, the president and CEO of Wabash General Hospital. She is a Mount Carmel native and has served Wabash General Hospital since 2005. She began her tenure as practicing manager. She has completed her associate in science degree from Wabash Valley College right here in Mount Carmel. And then she completed her bachelor's of science in accounting and professional services in 2005 from the University of Southern Indiana. And then she obtained her master's in business administration from Southern Illinois University in Carbondale in 2014. She is a fellow of the American College of Healthcare Executives. Krista is actively involved in the Mount Carmel Rotary Club, the IHA Small and Rural Steering Committee. She is a board member of the Mount Carmel Area Economic Alliance, Mount Carmel Creating Entrepreneurial Opportunities, and the Illinois Critical Access Hospital Network. She has a husband, Ryan, and 3 girls, Ava, Ella, and Emery, and I believe Ava and Ella are both here to watch their mom today. We also have a picture I'd like to present. I feel like we've came full circle here. Each of these little girls in this picture on the center stage of the 1989 Little Miss Ag Days pageant, they'll all be joining me on this stage today. I always knew that we would join back together on a stage, but I always thought it would be maybe Miss Universe. But look at us now, we're here and it's even better. So anyway, without further ado, Krista Turner.
Thank you, Leslie. Ashley, I really wanted that crown. Look at my face. I was not happy. I actually made my mom go buy me my own crown after this. I was quite the diva. Anyway, I have a few housekeeping items before we get started. First of all, thank you, Leslie, for putting this event together along with the other. Yeah, where are you going, girl? You're gonna go hide. Thank you. Thank you to the other chamber directors. What a great event to have ladies coming together to support one another, right? That's what we need. Thank you, Jesus. It's Friday. How many of you really thought, hallelujah, I'm glad this is the end of the week. Last day I have to get up and put makeup on, right? Who wears makeup on the weekends? Anybody in this room? Because I sure don't. I wear a hat, glasses when I go to Walmart. People probably think I'm homeless. That's okay. One of the things about being a lady in business is we're always juggling a lot of hats. We're always trying to balance things between our families and our work life, and we're always trying to stay one step ahead of everybody else, and that becomes very challenging. So what I would like to do this morning is do what Louise said. Let's take a moment and let's give each other some credit in the room. Look at your neighbor and say one nice compliment to your neighbor, something good and positive to start this session this morning. Can we all do that really quick? Something that I've observed over the years is women have a choice to make in the workplace. You know, there's a lot of discussion about men versus women in the workplace. And I want to say that I've worked with some men that were not so nice in the workplace, but I've also worked with women who are not so nice in the workplace. I would say it's equal. There's women and men that are not so nice in this world. And a decision that we have to make as boss ladies, which that's what we are, if you're in this room, we're bosses. We have to make a choice. Do we want to surround ourselves with positivity or negativity? Because you believe what you are and what you say and do. So if you are negative all the time, negative towards yourself and other people, then that's what you'll be. If you're positive, even in negative situations, then that's what you can be and share with other people. And you really need to think about that. We all have struggles. We all have hard jobs. We have a lot of commitments. So it is a choice that we make every single day in every situation. Even if there's a chance that you want to be negative, think about how to turn a positive out of that negative, okay? I do have a few stats for you. I'm a very informal public speaker because I do not like public speaking, and I'll get to that in a minute, and how that almost affected my career. I do speak from my heart. Do you know that women make 47.4% of the workforce in the US, but only 31% of women are top executives? Some people may say that's because men don't give women the chance to be executives. I don't believe that's true. I believe that it's our own inner assumptions sometimes and self-doubt where we can make the decisions not to be top executives. According to the US Census Bureau in 2020, women still only earn 83 cents for every dollar a man earns. So what are we going to do to change these two situations? Okay, I think that we have the power as women to do that ourselves. And I'm going to get to that here in a few minutes. I would like to share just a little bit about my journey, and this will all come together as we go, how I became CEO of Wabash General Hospital. First of all, I had no vision to ever be a CEO. I had no vision of what I wanted to do in the future at all. I just landed essentially where I'm at. I started by my mother giving me advice on what I should do in college. She's an accountant. I really, really, really wanted a marketing career. Danielle's job, she knows that, it's okay. We discuss this openly almost every day. That's what I really wanted. And she said, you know, if you want to do something in business, build a foundation first. And I took her advice and I went to school for accounting and finance. I wish I could say I loved it. I absolutely hated it. I thought it was torture, but I had a lot of student debt, and that was in my name. So I had to make a choice, and that was to finish school so I could pay for it mainly, but still no vision for what to do. Then I met my husband, Ryan, who was a city police officer here in Mount Carmel. I had no vision to return to Mount Carmel. I was living in Evansville, and he said, well, if you want to be with me, you have to live in Mount Carmel because that's the rules and we have to live within city limits. I mean, there was no even venturing out into Wabash County. Okay, I'll come back. And my mother called me. She works at the hospital as well. And she said, hey, I met this really nice surgeon. His name's Dr. Fulop, and Nikki, his wife, is here with us. He's really nice, and he's looking for a practice manager. Okay, well, I think I'll apply. I need a job in Mount Carmel. I knew nothing about nothing. Nothing about healthcare, nothing about running a business. I didn't know how to be professional. I didn't know how to interact with other people. I was really lost in that moment. Nikki knows. She worked with me at the beginning. Many times should Dr. Fulop have fired me. He should have walked me out, I'm sure, of that office because I had no experience in what I was doing, but I did have one thing. I had a work ethic. And that's something that we all have. That's why you're here today. We all had to get up this morning, make a decision to get dressed, put our makeup on, fix our hair, come to this event. Why are we here? We have work ethic. We want to succeed. I wanted that. I just had no experience with everything else. And he had a lot of patience with me, and he was willing to teach me. Okay? He's a man. You know, he's a man. He wanted me to be successful as a woman. The gender didn't even matter between the two. So I think a lot of the times we can be intimidated and feel like, hey, a man is superior to a woman in the workplace, but really, no, they're not. Very approachable, willing to help and assist us in succeeding, like he was, very graceful. So over time, I worked hard in that office. There was an opportunity that came up to be a director. So a director at the hospital is, you get responsibilities for other people and other departments sometimes. Well, that was the opportunity for me to be a director over many physician practices instead of one. At that time, I had Ava. I was on maternity leave, I believe, trying to juggle my first real executive interview. And I go in, have the interview, and I thought, man, I'm the only one at the hospital with experience. I hope I have this. I'm so excited. And guess what? I did not get the job. I was turned down by somebody who was not a part of the hospital. So again, I had a choice. Did I want to leave the hospital or stay? Did I want to stay where I was in Dr. Phillip's office? Like, all of these choices were going through my mind. Was I angry? Was I going to act out? Was I going to stay positive? What did that do for me? So I ended up staying at the hospital, ended up becoming friends with my boss, who had the position that I wanted. I was kind to her. I still talk to her to this day, and I actually wrote a reference for her. I made a choice. I was living with the decisions that were made for me at that time, even though that is not what I wanted at that time. But I believe God was looking out for me. He knew what I needed at that time, and he kept me in that place for a reason, because I continued to learn, and that is what I needed. I needed to learn. I wasn't ready. Okay? So she decides to leave and go work at Fairfield Memorial Hospital and open practices. So when she left, I received a phone call. Hey, Carissa, would you like to have this job? And we're not talking to anybody else, and it's all yours. For a second, I wanted to hang up that phone and say, well, too late. Sorry about that. But just took a breath. And I said, you know what? Yes, I'll give it a try. And at that time, I was very nervous about that position. I felt overwhelmed. Every step that I took in my career, I felt overwhelmed. I remember the day that I walked into my new office. She said, hey, I'm leaving in 2 days. Here's all my paperwork. Here's my phone. You need to answer this. My first cell phone at work. And I'm done. I gave my notice. And I remember sitting there and looking at all this paperwork, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to talk to Dr. Ed Nodcott and Dr. Hardy and these physicians I don't know, and I don't know how to run these practices, and I'm going to fail. That was my very first thought. Even though I wanted the job, I'm going to fail in my mind. So I went ahead, started off just, hey, I need to learn like I did in my last job, one day at a time. Don't get overwhelmed. Just take it one day at a time, which is what I did. One thing that I did during that step of my career, whether it was smart of me or not, I never said no. When people would ask, hey, will you take on this responsibility or that responsibility? I never worried about the money. I never asked, well, what will you pay me to do that? Or what will you give me? I always took it as an opportunity to learn and said, sure, yes, I will do that. Well, I did some really crazy things during that time. I ended up managing our emergency room physicians, which, wowzers, that's a whole new world. I was on call for 4 years, 24/7, couldn't go on vacation. I thought, there were times I was juggling a million things, my life was ending, and I was like, oh my gosh. But I learned a lot during that time that I'm using today. And so again, I'm not here to preach to everybody, but I do feel like God was there in my life. He knew I needed to have that experience and learn those things for where I am today. So my boss was Jay Purvis. He was the CEO at the time. He was a suit and tie type of gentleman, very strict. I mean, he was a boss, much older than me too. Most of the leadership was quite a bit older than me, suit and tie. Very easy to speak in a crowd. I mean, he could walk up and he could just talk to anybody very confidently and shake hands. And he approached me and said, hey, I'm going to retire in a few years. And if you would ever want to consider my job, you need to get your ticket punched, is what he called it. Okay? That meant I needed to go back to school and get my master's degree. So I told him I really didn't know if that was for me, but I would go back to school. I felt like that was an opportunity and something I always wanted to do. I applied for school, got accepted, received my application back, hey, congratulations, and found out I was pregnant with my third child. I thought, oh no, this is bad news. He's going to be so mad at me. And the hospital is here to support this, and I have to go talk to him. Well, once again, I had a decision to make. Could I move forward and go to school with an infant or quit? Because, you always have the opportunity to quit. The opportunity to do more doesn't come so frequently, but you always have the opportunity to back down. So I decided I'm going to go for it. And I ended up having Emery, my third child, on a Friday, and I started school on Monday. It was online school. I think she's pretty smart in some ways, maybe from me holding her and her little carrier next to me while I'm doing classes online. But I had a lot of support during that time. Support from my family, support from my husband, support from my coworkers. I felt like our support system will be there for us when we need them if we're willing to ask. And not always are we willing to ask for help. We are very bad, very, very bad at asking for help. We want to do it all ourselves and fix everything ourselves. But people are willing to help us if we just ask. So we need to think about that. Went back to school, finished all that, thank goodness. I know Kathy back there just finished school, and it's not always easy when you go later in life to school. It interrupts your life very much, but I encourage anybody thinking about it, do it. You will not regret it. It goes by so fast. You think 2 years, oh my gosh, how will I ever get through that? I graduated, I don't even know now, 2015-ish, a long time ago. It went by so fast. So then Jay got more serious after I finished school. I am retiring now, here in a couple of years. Do you want this job? There's a lot about my job that I love. I love the people that I work with. I love helping people. I love being a part of the community. I love making a difference. But there are a few things, such as public speaking, that I hate. And that was a big part of the job. So Jay and I interviewed with the board. He was there with me along the way for a year. A lot of meetings about if I'm going to take the CEO job. Ended up, I accepted the position. And I will say once again, I felt very overwhelmed and had in my mind that I would fail and could not do it. I will never forget the first day that I entered Jay's office, the very first day of my new job as CEO. And would you please play the video for me, video 1? This is how I felt.
All I can do right now is put on a brave face and go out there and be their leader. We are screwed.
I do like TikTok, by the way. China probably knows a lot about me. Okay.
All I can do right now is put on a brave face and go out.
Oh yeah, you want to see how well prepared I am for presentations like this? I was standing at my kitchen counter last night and my house gets pretty chaotic with Ryan wanting us to put away our laundry and, you know, my dogs wanting to go outside and the girls fighting over makeup or whatever they're talking about. And I'm standing at the kitchen, right, and he comes in, what are you doing? I have a presentation in the morning. I'm making a few notes. Yeah. I will say, while we're waiting on, maybe it'll play.
There and be their leader. We are screwed.
That's really how I felt. I was like a deer in the headlights that first day. And I remember Rob Coleman, he's been so good to me. He was the chairman my first 4 years of being CEO. He would bring me gifts. He's such a jolly guy. Does anybody, I know several people know Rob Coleman, just really quick, who's a Kansas City football fan? Anybody in the room other than me? Andy, do you see the resemblance between, I think I love Kansas City because I love Andy Reid because he reminds me of Rob Coleman and I love Rob Coleman. So I just like enjoy both of those things. But Rob's always been so supportive and so good to me. And he's really taught me a few things. I'm not a confident person. I have a lot of self-doubt. And a lot of the things that we do are assumptions that we make ourselves. We make a lot of assumptions in our minds. I'm not good enough. I'm not pretty enough, smart enough. I'm not this, I'm not that. I mean, all the time, it could be when we're getting ready for work, when we're going to a meeting, when we're driving somewhere. We are in our heads as women, at least I am. I'm speaking from the heart how I am. Doubting myself, which are assumptions that I'm making here. Nobody else is telling me these things. Nobody has ever told me, you're not smart, or I don't like the way you look, or you're not popular enough. Like nobody has said that to me, but I feel that in myself. And so we need to do better about receiving compliments. And Louise, in her opening presentation, did a wonderful job. We need to give compliments, but we also need to be good about receiving them and taking them in and believing them when other people give you a compliment, okay? We are smart. We wouldn't be here if we weren't smart. We are bosses. We're leaders. We need to be confident in ourselves. So CEO Rob Coleman comes in, gives me a gift. I'm now in charge of the hospital. A lot of responsibilities, a lot of people. And the one thing I hate is public speaking. And guess what happens 1 year in COVID. Well, what does that mean? That means a whole lot of communication. Plus, we also are in the middle of a building project, the biggest construction project that the hospital has had in many years. And what was I facing? Public speaking, the thing that I hate. I was terrified, terrified, terrified. And I have my second video, which was an assumption that I made of what was going to happen to me during this time.
My name. Good morning. My name is. Okay, sorry. Good morning. Okay, my name is Caitlin. My name is Caitlin Straw.
I mean, I wasn't far from that. I didn't laugh necessarily, but boy, I would sweat. I would.
Do you struggle with word?
I would shake. I would have major anxiety for days before I had to speak. And something to know about that is the more practice you get, the better you get at doing something. So thank you, Leslie, for putting myself in this situation with this opportunity. You need to make yourself uncomfortable sometimes. And being uncomfortable gives yourself the opportunity to practice. And the more practice, the better you get. So if there's something like public speaking that you are afraid of, I encourage you to do it as much as possible. Raise your hand, ask your boss, give yourself the opportunity, reach out. Because 5 years ago when I took this position, I would just melt in front of people. Hated it, hated it, hated it. My coworkers know, Danielle knows she was there, she observed it, and I was not very good at it. But over time, the more you do something, the better you are, as long as you give yourself a chance. A couple more points, and I have 2 more videos, and I'll get off the stage. I always made the assumption when I went to executive meetings that I was the dumbest person in the room. Have any of you in a classroom setting, office setting, sat around a table and a question's asked and you know the answer and you know you have the best answer, but you don't say it or you don't raise your hand? But somebody else does, they give the answer and everyone's like, oh, that was like so great and we love it. And you're sitting there like, I knew that, you know, whatever. Why not raise your hand and speak up? You also don't need to know all the answers, okay? Felt like in each role that I took, I had a fear that I would fail because I wasn't the expert in all the areas I felt like I needed to be an expert in. And it's okay to say, I don't know the answer, but I will find the answer. So don't back off from opportunities because you're fearful that you're not smart enough. The number one thing you can do as a leader is surround yourself with people that are smarter than you. I work with men that are smarter than me, a lot of them, and a lot of women that are smarter than me. And I'm okay with that. That's what I need. I need their help and it's okay to ask for help. So if you have an opportunity, take it. It will work out. You can build your network, ask questions, and speak up. Play the next video, please.
If you struggle with workplace anxiety or just general confidence at work, keep listening. I have 5 tips to help you. Someone who was once such an anxious girly, overthinking every little thing at work, to now someone who is like at ease and generally fairly confident. Tip number 1, you're gonna stop. You're gonna stop putting people on pedestals. Stop assuming that everyone in a room is better than you just because they have more experience, just because they have a certain job type. You're probably doing this and it's creating this power dynamic where everyone around you, you're assuming is smarter or better than you. And as a result, you feel generally less confident. So next time you're in a meeting, tell yourself the people around me are not better than me. They're not smarter than me. And a lot of them aren't. There are a ton of executives and senior people who are not that smart, and we hear about them all the time. So like, stop putting those people on pedestals. Secondly, you are going to live by the motto that unless someone tells me otherwise, I'm going to assume I'm doing a good job, because that is what your manager is for. Your manager is there to tell you if you are not performing and if you need to improve. Why are you wasting your time sitting there worrying whether you're going to get fired, whether you're doing a good job or not, when it is really not your responsibility to worry, because it is on your manager to bring it up in your next one-on-one, in your performance review. They should be letting you know what you're doing wrong and where you need to improve. So until someone says something, just assume you're doing a good job. Tip number 3, you are going to stop being so sensitive to people's communication style and their reactions to you. Some people are just more direct communicators. They're going to be direct with you and they're going to be direct with everyone else. Stop taking the way that people communicate personally. Just because someone isn't super warm, they're not super friendly, they're not using exclamation points, does not mean that they don't like you, does not mean that they think you're stupid. They literally just like are not programmed the same way as you. And that is okay, because that's actually what makes a diverse workplace. The acceptance of different personalities and the acceptance of different communication styles. Number 4, you are going to reframe everything into a positive. Stop that overthinking brain. You think you're asking too many questions? No, you're just making sure you have everything before you get started, so you are doing your job as accurately and efficiently as possible. Everything, for the most part, can be spun into a positive. Next time you're overthinking something, worrying about, oh my God, am I doing this wrong? Am I being annoying? Just spin it into a positive, and I swear it will help you ease that brain thinking that you're doing something wrong. And lastly, stop thinking that you need to have all the answers. No one has all the answers, and you're not expected to have all the answers. Instead, if you don't know the answer to a question, say, I don't know, but I'll get back to you. A lot of times there's actually no right answer, I've come to learn. It's just about having valid reasoning. There's often multiple options that someone can go with, and there's typically no right answer. As long as you provide good justification, you don't need to worry about it being the right answer. It's just around your reasoning, and then if they believe it and they agree, then that in itself is the right answer. Hope this helps, my lovelies. Let me know if you try these out and how they work for you.
Late. I mean, that's some really good advice from TikTok.
Researcher.
It's not all senseless when you get on there, you know, you can find a good piece of advice. So back to the statistics and back to the 31% of women who are executives in the pay differential. We can control that. Okay, we can control that by being more confident in ourselves, by taking that step. Nobody, no man is preventing this. It is not them. They're very supportive. I promise you, I've had so many supportive men in my life. It is on us to take that leap and be confident in ourselves and to say yes and to do it. So I just encourage all of you, next time you have the opportunity, next time you have someone ask you to do something that's just that extra step, have the courage to say yes, be confident in yourself. And the most important thing in the workplace, other than being positive, is make it fun. Make your job fun. I preach this at the hospital. We laugh a lot at work. It's okay to be professional, and it's okay to have fun. Those things should come together in the workplace. We spend more time at work than what we do at home. So why not enjoy it and make friends? Some of my best friends I've met in the workplace. I would have never met these people if I did not take that job at Wabash General Hospital. And I have one last video that just is a little stat, and I'm not sure what's up with her bangs. I almost didn't play this because of her hair was so terrible, but oh, I'm being negative towards the lady. She has something very good to say. We're gonna listen to her words and not her bangs, so go ahead and play.
Harvard researchers recently found that the average 4-year-old laughs 300 times a day. They also found that the average 40-year-old takes about 2.5 months to laugh that much. The same study found that this group of adults thought that humor and laughter at the workplace is unprofessional. The reality is, of course, quite the opposite. Here are all the benefits that come with having a good sense of humor and allowing for a little laughter and a little levity at the workplace.
All right. I would like to end it on that note. I hope that you're all very successful in whatever you choose to do, and thank you for giving me the chance to speak to you all today. And this group over here of high school students, I know that you will be excellent, and I look forward to seeing you in your future. You're far many steps ahead of where I was at that point in my life. And so I applaud you for being here and being in a business setting during your high school career. And thank you.
Does anyone have any questions for Carissa? We would like to present her with a thank you gift from her favorite local boutique.
To plug in to Eclectic. They are having a sale today. I can look it down. And if they're not having a sale, say, well, Carissa said you are, and she'll hopefully give you a discount. All right. Thank you.
Me and Krista like to meet down at Eclectic and do some damage down there. I also am wearing a couple pieces from there. Now I'm going to invite Megan up to do the next door prize. And then after that, we're going to take a brief break. If you'd like to grab a snack or use the restroom, they're outside here if you take a left, just down the hallway there.
Three numbers are 462. 462.
Okay, go ahead and feel free to take about 10 or so minutes for a break.
which direction do I point this to make it go clicky? At the computer? Thank you. I found it. I found it. I don't. Hey, ladies. Ladies, as you're coming back in, if you wouldn't mind to come up and grab a goodie bag. Huh. Yeah. Ladies, as you're filtering back in, please make sure you grab a goodie bag. Just grab a bag. You ready? Okay. Welcome back, ladies. Again, my name is Jessica. I'm the president of the Albion Area Chamber of Commerce. I do a little bit of George Bush when I public speak, so I'm gonna walk back and forth, and I do apologize, but that is my ADHD. So, it's not clicking. Okay, so who am I? Why am I on stage today? I don't have a fancy title like Carissa or Miss Louise, but I am a cheer mom. I'm a chaos goblin, right? I identify as a problem. Why do I say that? We've all heard the term passenger princess. I'm a passenger problem. If I don't have a blanket, a book, a snack, a Polar Pop, and control of the radio, don't get in the car with me. I'm a sister. I'm a proud sister. I'm a friend. I'm a really good friend. And I'm an overachiever. And I'm also enough. The simplest version of enough, as much or as many as required. Okay. All of those things on the previous screen describe me. However, they describe me as I am to other people. I'm a cheer mom. I wouldn't be either of those two things if it weren't for, go back. Back one. I wouldn't be either of those things if it weren't for that gorgeous little specimen right there, okay? I'm a chaos goblin. I cause a lot of chaos no matter where I am. And I don't really apologize. I'm done. Okay. But all of those things describe me as I am to other people. Next, please. Two, please. Nope. Go back, sorry. But I really want to focus today on who you are to you, okay? And I want you to realize that you are enough just as you exist. Next, please. So either in your goodie bags or, as my fellow directors were handed, one of these, okay? If you would please retrieve your neon card. And you have either an A or a B on your card, okay? Now, as Carissa stated, you've got to get uncomfortable, okay? Where are my A's? Okay, A's, I would like you to stand up. Leave your stuff and go find a B that is sitting down that you don't know. And I am not sorry about this. A's, have you found your B's? Do I have stragglers? Okay, A's, if you have your B's, just take a seat. You'll be there for about 4 or 5 minutes, please. Okay, A's. It's time to get uncomfortable. You are going to take the next 90 seconds and you are going to tell your B things that you love about yourself that do not have to do with your job, your children, your significant other. Okay? I'm a great mom. Fantastic. I don't care. Okay? That's who you are to other people. I love that I'm a redhead. That's about me. Okay? So you're going to take the next 90 seconds. You're going to tell your B things about yourself that you love. B's. Hang on. Wait. B's. At the end of that 90 seconds, I have a timer. At the end of that 90 seconds, you are going to say something that you love about the A that you just met. I love that you can wear purple. I can. Okay? A, your response to that compliment is right here. And you're going to say this with gusto. I know. Thank you. Okay? Are you ready? Whoop. Go. Time. B's. Give your compliments to your A's. Okay. A's, did you respond? Okay. Now we get to switch. B's, you have 90 seconds to tell your A things that you love about yourself that don't have anything to do with your kids or your job or your partner. And your response is right here whenever A gives you their compliment. I know. I love that about me too. Okay? You ready? Go. time. A's, hand your compliments to your B's, please. B's, make sure you respond. Thank you. I love that about me too. If you are finished with your partner, you may go back to your seat. Thanks. So, you learned a lot about somebody today. You probably learned a lot more about yourself. Okay? I did this exercise with my cats last night at 2:00 in the morning because that's what you do. And here's the list of things that I love about myself and how I would describe myself just as I am. Okay? I am passionate. I am kind, loving, and caring. Now stick with me. This is where it gets weird. I am the perfect emerald green pine tree dusted with the first heavy snow. I am a Trenta iced chai latte with 6 pumps of honey blend and almond milk and pumpkin cold foam. Remember that. That's $9. I am the screeching of crows. I am the first crack of thunder. I am Shelby Eaton's Latchery and Scarlett O'Hara. I am Diane Lane in the white dress after being dumped by Marcello and Under the Tuscan Sun. I am a force of nature to be reckoned with. I say those things because they spark an emotion for me. They paint a picture. I'm a very descriptive person. I love words. I love the emotions that they represent. That is how I would describe me. Now, I have some very close friends in this room, and I'm sure that they would describe me else in other words. Some of them not so kind, but that's how I would describe me. So, I want you to take your card again, okay? I'm almost done with you, I promise. And on the back of it, it's blank. I want you to write these things down. This exercise was hard, wasn't it? A little bit? It's hard as women to disconnect ourselves from the person who left the house this morning. I would guess that the majority of us in here, other than this group, are mothers and or wives, or carry the burden of caring for someone else in our lives. Oftentimes we carry the burden of carrying someone else through their life. We raise our children, and our children start to have their own children. We watch our parents become just as dependent upon us as our grandchildren. We serve so many other people, and we oftentimes have the weight of the world upon our shoulders. And more often than not, every piece of responsibility that we have goes unnoticed, and we are never told thank you. So yep, we're doing that. I want you to put this in your car. I want you to tape this up on your bathroom mirror, somewhere where you see it every single day. And these are the things that I want you to say to yourself. Because I promise you, as I'm standing up here lecturing at you, that these are the things that you need to believe in, I'm still learning this myself. I am in my mid-30s and I am dating. Okay? Don't, okay? I want you to see this every single day so that you can be your own emerald green pine tree with the first hint of snow. As you're writing this, I would really like to leave you with this one final thought. Literally, I heard this advice at 1:17 this morning on TikTok again. It is something that I immediately jumped out of bed and went and found my card from when I did this exercise and wrote this beside it. If you don't trust their advice, don't trust their criticism. Thank you. I get to do the next door prize. Don't shut me off yet, please. Thank you. What's his name again? Luke. Let's give a big hand to Luke. He's running our AV today. Okay, next door prize, 446. Woo! Coming up and pick your prize. Thank you. I got a D mic here. You can shut me off. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jessica. And she's got a goodie box as well. We'd like to take a moment to thank the goodie bag sponsors today, the Friends of Alny, the Richland County Chamber. Also, a big shout out to the business students sponsors. Full State of Marketing is a full service marketing company located in Mount Carmel, Illinois. They can help businesses grow by generating premium thoughts, leading content, and distributing it to ideal clients. They also specialize in social media marketing, content strategy, and branding. They wanted to contribute to the event today, so they decided to pay the registration fee for the high school and college students that you see here today. And they also collaborated with the Mount Carmel CEO board for those efforts, so we would like to thank them both. Okay, we're going to do the 5th door prize with Libby.
$425.
All right, so now we're going to invite a friend of mine, Ashley Kushman, to the stage. She is going to be talking about leading gracefully. She is a Stats and Info Group Associate Director at ESPN. She is a skilled storyteller and a team leader with more than 20 years of experience in sports media, communications, and management. At ESPN, Ashley leads SIG's business operations and content inauguration teams. She has oversight of the department's developmental efforts, internal, external communications, and numerous business incentives. Ashley is also responsible for integrating SIG's differential content into various tools and resources to help maximize storytelling potential across all company platforms. From 2014 to 2021, Ashley was the manager in SIG's content department and responsible for the day-to-day overseeing of Bottom Line, the 24/7 news and score ticker on more than a dozen ESPN networks. You guys know what that is, right? My son Luke was very impressed with that, by the way. Prior to joining ESPN in 2014, Ashley worked in media relations for the University of Texas and University of Florida athletic departments, as well as the Ladies Professional Golf Association. Ashley resides in Southern Illinois with her husband Jay and their boys Luke and Leo. And now I kind of want to remote work with Ashley.
I get mic'd up here, sorry. All right, first of all, I do have to say, going back to that picture Leslie showed of Carissa and herself and I, you've seen the pictures where people like recreate, 30 years ago when they were kids, those pictures. Let's go, we're gonna find some prom dresses. Okay, perfect. That's happening. That is happening at some point here. All right. So when Leslie kind of pitched this to me back in December, I think it was uptown at Eclectic Boutique where we bumped into her. My mom and I were shopping. In my head, I envisioned this being like the Eras tour. So I wore my friendship bracelets. I'm disappointed that you guys aren't rocking more sequins and glitter. I really thought that that's where we were going today. So bear with me. I'm going to adjust my expectations a little bit. All kidding aside, Leslie introduced me. That's just a bunch of words. My career in sports media has been about the last 20 years. It was a world I walked into in graduate school. I had a friend, her husband worked in the athletic department. They were older than me, I guess. I was a senior in college. They were looking for some student workers. And I started there at a mid-major school, like Wabash Valley could probably be about the same size, it seems like. And I loved it. That brought me energy. I felt alive doing that. So I pursued that career. It landed me at the University of Florida at the end of graduate school. And if I thought what I was doing at Western Illinois University was awesome, it was so much cooler at the University of Florida. That was the SEC. You guys know anything about sports? That's where college football is. No offense to the Big Ten. I know we're in Big Ten country. So I left college athletics for an opportunity at the LPGA, the Ladies Professional Golf Association. Incredible opportunity to work with some of the best female athletes in the world and to travel the world. I was in my 20s. I got to go to Canada, all over the United States, Australia for golf tournaments. I really missed college athletics. That ended me back at the University of Texas down in Austin, where I closely worked for my last 2 years there with a student athlete known as Jordan Spieth. You know anything about golf? He rocked the golf world for a few years there. So my job in college athletics was to media train. I did all the communications for a couple of teams. Golf was one of them. Basketball was one of them. I worked a little bit with football. I wasn't the primary person, but my job was to try to make people comfortable when they were speaking to the media or in a press conference. You'd think I'd learned some of my own advice, you guys, but my knees are shaking, okay? My mouth going a little bit dry here. But anyway, I left college athletics. It was time to get off the road. It was so much travel. It was so many nights, holidays, and weekends. I knew that wasn't how my husband and I wanted to raise a family. So I started my career search kind of all over again. That's how I ended up at ESPN in 2014. Incredible opportunity there. I worked in Connecticut at headquarters from 2014 to 2020. The pandemic happened. My husband and I finally had our first kid. He was 15 months old. And let me tell you, working from home with a 15-month-old because your daycare has closed and you've still got all of your same job responsibilities was a nightmare. Love my kid, but 15 months old and not having a sitter while you were trying to work 40 to 50 hours a week was terrible. So we came home for I think we were coming home for 2 weeks. We get bored in Connecticut and I call my mom one day and I'm like, can we just drive to Illinois and, just to break this up, get out of our house. We were going to stay for 2 weeks. 2 weeks turned into 6. We sadly went back to Connecticut. And one night sitting on the porch, we were just like, what are we doing here? We have no family. Now we know we can work from anywhere. We can be our powerful, job-focused selves, but we can do it from anywhere. We don't have to be in an office. That's when we started our way back home. My husband's from Northern Illinois, but Illinois is his home state as well. And we're back in Mount Carmel. So when I tell you how weird it is for me to be standing on this stage where I did dance recitals 10 years ago, that was like 30, more like 30 years ago. And I sat over there. I couldn't tell you the exact seat, but where there are empty seats, I took my ACTs there. And now here I am somehow in a position that I don't think I'm giving advice. I'm just kind of telling you about my experiences and things I learned along the way. It's a wild ride. That's a really wild ride for me to be here. But I told you a little bit about my career and the path that I took. Although those jobs had some similarities, they were all vastly, vastly different. But the one extremely common thing they all held together is that they were largely workforces dominated by men. Even the LPGA, which seems like that doesn't make sense, right? You're working for these female athletes, but the corporate office was men. And what I'm going to go into here isn't about, the patriarchy or anything like that. I'm really going to focus on how, as women, we can bring our strengths into the workforce. And if you think about that workforce, I see all sorts of ages here. Some of you began your careers in the workforce when men created that, right? And you walked into that and it was kind of a man's world. And it's gotten so much better now, thanks to the women that came before us decades and decades ago. But there's still a lot of things that exist in the workplace that are from that era. So I'm just going to talk a little bit, as we get into this, about how we can be ourselves, how as women, we bring certain skills and we really need to capitalize on those and use those as opportunities. So the biggest thing in 20 years that I can very confidently say up here to each of you, I wish brilliant women had the confidence of mediocre men. Okay? Think about that. Okay. Carissa touched on this. And it's when you're not sure of yourself, like, I kind of have an idea, I kind of want to talk about it, I'm a little bit nervous too, and you're holding yourself back. That's called imposter syndrome. Has anyone in here heard of that? Okay. You hear more and more and more about it as women are rising the ranks in workforces, as the workforce is becoming more, female. 47%, I believe you were kind of saying in the workforce. So we're close to 50-50. So there's that. Imposter syndrome, we're going to drill that down a little bit more. You see a job description. Oh, that sounds awesome. And there are 8 job requirements for it. You got to meet this criteria. Studies show that men will meet 2 or 3 of those. They're like, yeah, I'm applying for that. I'd be awesome at that. Whereas women might meet 7 of those 8, and they're afraid that that one they don't have will hold them back and they don't apply. So that's the difference when we talk about the imposter syndrome. And we need to figure out how to overcome that, become more confident in ourselves, more comfortable with who we are, and that we can bring really great things to the workforce. Maybe by your standards, I look composed, a little off kilter, but a little bit composed as well. Maybe a little bit confident, maybe a little bit comfortable up here on the stage. I'm not. My leg is shaking. My mouth is going dry. I've already reached for my emotional support water bottle here that I'm going to crack open in a minute. But that's me being comfortable enough to tell all of you how I'm really feeling. Physiologically, my mouth is dry, my knees are shaking. I don't know if I'm going to sweat through my top or not, but I'm worried about that now because I know that happens to some people. So we'll see how that goes here. But not just physically that and how I'm speaking to you. I'm nervous about, all the work I put into this. I've been thinking about this for a couple of weeks, and I've really tried to focus on it the last couple of days as this event has gotten closer. But inside my own head, I'm freaking out here that a joke I make isn't going to land, or that my mouth is going to go so dry I won't be able to speak, or I'll start talking so fast that you guys won't understand me, right? Those are all real things that could happen up here. They're weaknesses. For as much as I want to portray strengths that I do have weaknesses. And here I am being honest, transparent, authentic, and vulnerable about all of those. The last word I used, vulnerable. As women, we have an innate ability to feel what others are feeling, right? We know when the vibe is off. Something's a little bit wrong, or someone's not who they usually are. We feel that when our male counterparts can sometimes be a little bit oblivious to that. Isn't that an advantage? Isn't that something that we are born with, that we have? Maybe it's maternal, maybe it's feminine, I don't know, but it is something we are born with, and it's something we have, and it's something we can tap into in the workplace to make it even better. The workplace is supposed to be formal, right? In a lot of places, there are some places where it's more fun, like a startup company, things like that. But largely, if you work for a large company, if you work with mixed genders, there's an air of formality to the workplace. Do your hair, makeup, you wear the outfit that you feel comfortable in, kind of like your suit, and you go into that office, or you go into that setting if it's remote and it's virtual and you're on Zoom, you present who you want to be at work. You know, people ask, how are you doing today? How are you really doing today? Me, it's the weekend, getting ready here. My 2 kids are going to be home all weekend. What am I going to do with them? I hope the weather's nice. I got to do this. I got to not like, that's really how I'm doing. That's what I'm thinking about. But no one wants to hear that, right? So we do that. We do the normal thing. I'm great. I'm great. How are you? That's a workplace behavior that has been adapted to over time, and that's just what we do. So we adapt to this formal workplace where we're supposed to be these capable, strong, and decisive women. But there's a fine line, right? Because we can't be too decisive and cold-hearted and calculated. There's a 5-letter word, starts with B, that I'm coming up with here, right? That I think we toe the line between, because we want to be liked, we want to be respected, we want to collaborate, we want to work together, but we don't want people to not like us. We're always balancing that. All right, so vulnerability has traditionally been described and viewed as a weakness in the workplace. Maybe not that explicitly, but that's kind of the underlying assumption about vulnerability and just as that weakness there. I told you guys I'm nervous, okay? Thanks for being a safe space though, and thank you for humoring me and making me feel okay to stumble over my words a little bit. But I will say, the conversation about vulnerability and about mental health has really been changing in the last couple of years. And more than ever before, we can go into the workplace as our authentic selves, okay? Maybe not that weekend version of ourselves where we're in sweatpants and no makeup and all of that, but we can be personality-wise more authentic, more true to ourselves. And I think that's a little bit more comfortable, right? And that level of comfort helps us be more confident, because that's who we are. That's who we are at our core, and that's who we want to be there. So let's talk about how we can use that more and more as a strength when we recognize it, when we realize it, and we act upon it. We are boss ladies. That's awesome. That is so cool that in the last 10, 15, 20 years, that term has come about, and we can go into the workplace and we can be those boss ladies. But just because we have that ability, just because we can be those boss ladies, we don't have to carry ourselves the same way that men have traditionally done so. Carissa was talking about some of the men she's worked with, that, you know, older, formal, rigid. That's going to exist. That's going to be there. That's totally okay. But there are the others, those allies that get it, that are a little bit more relaxed, that you can ease into, that you can lean on and be more of yourself with, be more vulnerable with. And those are the people you need to surround yourselves with. Those are the people you need to look for, to have those conversations with about how to be comfortable in the workplace and how to be your best self. If we don't do that, right, if we put on that full armor and we act like the stereotypical 20, 30 years ago men in the office, that's when we start to harden ourselves, okay? And then we're leaning into that masculine leadership, which is probably more uncomfortable for a lot of us than that female leadership that we have, that softer version. Again, when we go so hard towards that masculine leadership side, there can be penalties for women, right? Women that behave like men, they kind of have it twofold sometimes. The men don't like you, and sometimes the women don't either. And then who are your allies? Who are you leaning on in the workplace? So again, finding that way to be authentic, to be your real self in the workplace is going to get the best from you, and your company is going to get the best out of you as well. Okay. I don't want it to sound like, especially for high school students, that every workplace out there is bad. That is absolutely not the case. How many of you work in a place where some of these things I've said, talking about some of these existing practices in the office, how many of you have never experienced that at all? Awesome. I want your job. You have the unicorn job that I think we're all after. Stay there. Don't ever leave it. That's incredible. But also one hand, right? Out of all of these women in this room. Amazing. Congrats on that. That's really great. And when you guys go into the workforce, I'm looking at the high school and college students here, or those that are going to be starting their careers soon. Remember, when you go and interview for a company, when they bring you to their headquarters, when they bring you into their office, they already know you can do the job. They wouldn't be spending their time talking to you in person if they didn't think you were capable of what they're looking for. They're trying to see if you're a good fit culturally. And you should use that opportunity as well to see if you could see yourself working there. If you can't, that's a red flag. Consider that as you consider your other offers and what's out there. But make sure you're using that opportunity for a good fit at the same way that they are. All right, so back to what we probably have all experienced at some point or another, is that sometimes when the men don't like a woman and the women don't like that woman either, you worry about that. You spend so much time worrying about that and how you can connect with your team and how you can get the best out of yourself there in that work job, in that career. You have to have allies. You have to have allies, and they can be male, they can be female, that doesn't matter. But you need to have people saying positive things about you in rooms and meetings that you aren't in. And that's not just work. That can be a committee, that can be at home, that can be in so many things in your life. So when you're listening to these words, when you go home and you read an article about imposter syndrome or something else that you've heard one of us speakers talk about today, don't just think about that at work. Think about that in your personal life, a church committee, a community club, again, your family at home. These are all little units where you are expected at some point or another to be a leader. All right, we have to be a lot of things at once, all at the same time, constantly juggling way more than 3 balls in the air at a time. A lot of you have probably seen this clip that I'm going to have Luke play, but I know there are a few of you in here that haven't. I know my mom hasn't, so there's at least one person. But I want to revisit a little clip here from last summer's Barbie movie that has really, really resonated with women around the world. Luke, can you play that?
It is literally impossible to be a woman. You are so beautiful and so smart, and it kills me that you don't think you're good enough. Like, we have to always be extraordinary. But somehow we're always doing it wrong. You have to be thin, but not too thin. And you can never say you want to be thin. You have to say you want to be healthy, but also you have to be thin. You have to have money, but you can't ask for money because that's crass. You have to be a boss, but you can't be mean. You have to lead, but you can't squash other people's ideas. You're supposed to love being a mother, but don't talk about your kids all the damn time. You have to be a career woman, but also always be looking out for other people. You have to answer for men's bad behavior, which is insane, but if you point that out, you're accused of complaining. You're supposed to stay pretty for men, but not so pretty that you tempt them too much or that you threaten other women, because you're supposed to be a part of the sisterhood, but always stand out and always be grateful. But never forget that the system is rigged, so find a way to acknowledge that, but also always be grateful. You have to never get old. Never be rude, never show off, never be selfish, never fall down, never fail, never show fear, never get out of line. It's too hard, it's too contradictory, and nobody gives you a medal or says thank you. And it turns out, in fact, that not only are you doing everything wrong, but also everything is your fault. I'm just so tired of watching myself and every single other woman tie herself into knots so that people will like us. And if all of that is also true for a doll, just representing a woman, then I don't even know.
Thank you, Luke. How many have not seen that before? Oh, wow. Okay. A great movie. It got robbed of a couple of Oscar nominations. I think those are Sunday night. But that hit so hard. I've been tied up in knots too many times to count. Anyone else? Right? All right. Let me flip here to, I just got a little slideshow that we're going to work through. Oh, it worked. Technology is my friend today. It's shocking. All right. So if we peel back some of that hardness that we assume is expected out of us, then we start to gracefully lead. We're no longer making things happen by ourselves. Okay? We're not on an island alone. Because one of the best ways you can build a team, that you can get those allies, that you can get that support that you need, either in the meeting you're in or the meeting you're not in, where your name might be coming up, is through being more collaborative and more effective. Again, things that women are innately great at. You attract people to you by building relationships of trust. You got to put some in with people, kind of like a bank, before you can take it out. They're not going to let you take out money without having some already in it. So you got to build those relationships of trust with people. That has to be the foundation. And when we tap into our innate female abilities, that's also empathy and compassion for others. Because when we put ourselves in the shoes of others, that does nothing but strengthen relationships. It goes back to that trust that we need, that trust that we want, that trust that is the foundation of so many relationships, personally and professionally. Am I making sense that authenticity of you can bring down that mask that maybe you've put up for a really long time that you thought you've needed, but maybe not so much? Okay. What if we stopped striving for our own perfection and not letting anyone in our group or on our team make mistakes? Okay, I think you got a little bit, some more buy-in there, right? People can be more themselves, they're less nervous. What if, and I think Carissa touched on this earlier, what if we didn't keep ideas to ourselves because we're afraid about what others would think or how they'll react? What if we put them out there? What's the worst that can happen? Somebody says no. That's literally the worst that could happen sometimes, is somebody says no. And you just find somebody else to tell it to. What if We took a risk because we think it will pay off instead of being afraid to take the risk in the first place. We're so risk adverse because we're afraid of what people will think, how they'll react, or how it will make them think about us. So we want to push boundaries. We want to keep things going. We want more women in the workplace, and we want them to go even further than they've already come in the last 30 to 40 years. I mean, we're sitting in a room with CEOs, with presidents, with bosses, with entrepreneurs, with moms. There's so much talent in this room. So much. No, you're good. Don't, no. Safe space. This is a safe space. We forget to turn our phones off sometimes. It's okay. Totally okay. So going back to that, I'm sorry. If we want to keep going further and further, people need room. They need permission to share crazy and new ideas, to try new things, and to maybe be bad at them, maybe to not get it right the first time. And we have that ability to support that, right? To bring out the authenticities of other people, because we know there's going to be stumbles along the way, but we know that we're going to get there. We know that the right thing's going to happen from that. So if you want to keep the best people in your group, on your team, in your department, engaged and performing at the highest level, they have to feel really valued. They have to feel seen, and they have to be heard. But none of that exists without them being vulnerable. And the way they're going to be vulnerable is they've seen you be a bit vulnerable. So it's kind of leading by example in a lot of ways. I'm not perfect at this. I get it wrong all the time. I have been brought up in male-dominated workplaces. And over the last couple of years, again, really when we started to have a cultural shift with the Me Too movement, with social activism, things like that, that bled over into so many workplaces. And it's been a wonderful thing where we've talked about mental health, where we've talked about letting people be more and more of themselves. And we have to capitalize on that. Again, it's something that's ingrained in a lot of us, how we have to be in the workplace. But now more than ever before, I think there's a chance to, be yourself, put more of your personality into what you're doing, and to lead by those examples. All right. Getting long here, getting long-winded. I don't like to do that. I apologize if I've already lost anybody. So I want to dive into some action steps of how we can get there, okay? 5 quick things to practice this in the workplace, to make it applicable. All right. So if you want to look at yourself, if you want to look at your leadership style, look at how you are showing up in the workplace to your people, the first thing you have to do is look at, what is my current impact? Are we all self-aware enough? We just did the exercise with the note cards where we had to talk about things that we loved about ourselves. I hated that. That was painful. It was great, but it was painful for me. Anybody else feel a little uncomfortable doing that? Right? That means that we've got more room for improvement in the self-awareness area. So we start there. If we don't have a clue how we're showing up and how other people are perceiving us, then there's a big gap in self-awareness. Are you a team player? You get along with the majority of your team? Or do you complain and act like a victim? Do you even know? How do you handle stress in front of other people? If you notice and you're honest with yourself, and if you don't like what you see, that's how you can start to change it. But you're never going to change what you're not going to look at. Do a deep dive. I'm not going to make you turn to the person next to you. Again, I felt uncomfortable, so that's my safe zone. But think about that. Think about yourself and how you're showing up, okay? After that, after you've done a real dive into yourself, think about what you want your desired impact to be. Do you want to be more collaborative with others? Do you want to build more trust with your peers? Maybe there's a relationship with someone you work with that you want to improve. Find what your goal is, work towards it, and then you can kind of look backwards to figure out what qualities you need to develop to get your desired impact, okay? So current impact, figure that out. That's the self-awareness piece. Desired impact, look at how you're, look at what's going on Monday through Friday or whatever your work schedule is and what you want that impact to be. Right. This is my favorite one. We're gonna center ourselves. Anybody want to give me an example of what makes them feel like present, calm, and relaxed? What do you think about when you want to be those three things? Love it, love it. We're usually in some kind of stress mode at work. There's deadlines, there's little fires, unexpected issues. All of those things are coming up. And when we start to get stressed out, sometimes even when we don't recognize it, it's reducing our ability to think clearly, and we're suddenly becoming more emotional and perhaps more aggressive. If we work through that stress by centering ourselves, okay, thinking about, maybe it's that sip of coffee, chai, what's your favorite vacation place, mentally taking yourself there for a few seconds, thinking of that first sip of coffee in the morning, or I don't know about you guys, but like I have a regular like body soap, and then I've got like a good bubble bath kind of soap that I never use, right? I save it for special occasions, but maybe it's that. Maybe it's thinking about that nice bubble bath or that nice soap that can help you get back to where you really need to be. If you work through that stress by centering yourself, that gets you back to being more present, calm, and relaxed before you reply to that email, walk into that meeting, before you present yourself as something you don't want to be. All right, choose a leadership capacity to develop. We're never done developing. There's always something that we can work on. But in these situations, again, going back to an immediate one where you've got an email to reply to, where you've got a meeting to walk into, you recognize you haven't been your best self, you've centered yourself, you've come back to having that mental clarity. What do you need to present in that email or in that meeting to make your point most effective? This goes back to that desired impact. You want to improve that relationship. You're back to who you need to be in the workplace. Now you're going to choose a leadership capacity to improve that relationship. So a couple different ways if that is your example. If you tend to be aggressive in your leadership style, maybe you start to focus on your empathy and humility. If you tend to be shy and withdrawn, maybe you need to step up a little bit and be more direct in how you communicate your ideas and your opinions. Right. Last one. And again, I'm giving this advice. I'm not always so good at practicing it myself, but I know I have to in the workplace. Ask for feedback. Anybody else in here have jobs where you get like an annual review or a mid-year review? No? Yeah, okay, there you go. I see some nods. Okay. Oh, my stomach is like in knots, right? Like I've had, like my boss hasn't given me any reason to doubt myself, but I start doubting myself because I have imposter syndrome because of all those things that we've already talked about this morning. But if we're asking for feedback, if we're being honest with people, hey, I'm working on this. I am working on being more direct. How have I been doing? Then you have the opportunity to, that person, you're building that relationship with them because you've shown them that you trust them to give you valuable pieces of performance feedback. And two, again, they're recognizing your vulnerability. You're putting yourself out there by saying, I want your opinion on how I'm doing on this. So this is all so connected to those relationships and that team building there. There's really nothing more vulnerable than asking for feedback. It helps you stay accountable. checks your progress, and it improves your relationships, okay? That insight is going to be pivotal to your success when you're working on these behavior changes that start with, what is my current impact? All right. A lot of things here, but bottom line, every single day, everything we do, we have a choice at how we show up. If we're leading others, we're just leading ourselves. We have a choice. You're an entrepreneur, you're a mom, you're a boss. Even if you feel like you don't have direct reports, there's always somebody looking at you. You're always being watched by someone. Someone looks up to you. And from what I've heard about all the women in this room, it's very true. You're all leaders to somebody. So if you practice your leadership skills and you better manage yourself and others with more ease, effectiveness, and grace, you're going to get the outcome you want. All right. So do something nice for yourself today. It's International Women's Day, right? Because as the Barbie clip showed, there's so many things going on. There's so much pressure we put on ourselves. It's hard. We get it from ourselves. We get it from society. But of all days, this is the one to do something nice for yourself. Like Louise said, there's one of each of us. We're here for a reason. That's the role we get to play in the lives of others. So I don't know about you, but I'm going to use the good bubble bath now. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ashley. A couple things I was thinking of. My B word is budget. That's the one I don't like. And I also wanted to mention that when we kind of started talking about this, and this was my idea to get everyone together today, I did want to mention that, you know, we have a very mixed chamber board for the Wabash County Chamber of Commerce, but they were all very supportive, but there were two men that made the motion and seconded the motion for us to be able to lead this today. So we do have a lot of support with the chamber, with the men in our local workforce. So we're happy to have them, but we have a diverse board as well. So thank you. Okay, Anna, are you going to come and help me do the 6th door prize? $397, that's the one that got here early today. No one? No takers? Last chance, okay. Did everyone lose their ticket? Okay, I was gonna say, did you guys lose your ticket? Go ahead and choose either of those gift baskets. We're putting her on the spot. She's gonna be a leader. Okay, so the last presenter I have today is Mallory Fuller. She is going to be talking about marketing yourself as a woman in business. She is the director of marketing at Full Stadium. She has a bachelor's in public relations with an emphasis in digital media from McKendree University. She serves on the Wabash County Chamber of Commerce Board, the Mount Carmel CEO Board, Zoning Board, and she is the facilitator for the Mount Carmel CEO class. She is married to her best friend Hunter and is a mom to their dog Ricky. She loves golfing with family, brunching with friends, and shopping with her mom. I knew Mallory would be perfect for this event because she loves a challenge, and I am always a challenge for her. She is a very dear friend of mine, and we're so lucky to have her. She has also been a very critical part of our operation because she helps me do design work. So she actually designed our logo for this event to brand our event that we will continue to use for years in the future. So thank you very much, Mallory. Without further ado.
See, am I on? Can you hear me? All right. Oh, my goodness. I'm sitting over there just thinking about, I have 45 more minutes. I have 20 more minutes. I have 60 more seconds. So we're here. I need to put this on my pants and we'll get started. I know everyone said it today, but thank you for being here. Thank you for attending. Thanks to Kelsey and Leslie for coming, or I'm sorry, putting the event on. Will you help me with this? My bouquet. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, I'm gonna walk around with my iPad, so I might look like a server at Texas Roadhouse, but I am. This is my iPad with my notes on it. So, as it's been mentioned, the last topic we're gonna cover today is marketing yourself as a woman in business. So if you've been talking or been writing things down, you can title this one, Marketing Yourself as a Woman in Business. And I have just 4 short points. Let's jump into it. My name is Mallory Fuller. I work at Full Stadium Marketing. And we're pretty good at social media. And we do website copy and we write a lot of blogs. People seem to think that we're pretty good at our job. And we just do stuff like that. Based on that, does anyone think that I actually enjoy my job? Would you trust me to communicate the message about your business, something that you have worked hard to build? Probably not. So let's do it again. My name's Mallory Fuller. I was raised here in Wabash County and I still live here with my husband Hunter. We love the community of Mount Carmel. I'm a director of marketing at Full Stadium, and my incredible team is here today to support me, which is so kind. And we do work both locally and globally. So we specialize in social media marketing and we do websites. We create them. We write copy. So maybe you know what your idea is, but you're just not really sure how it's going to connect to people and why they would even care. So we help you create that script, if you will. We make logo designs, anything that you and your business want to share with people but want to hand in, you can come to us and we'll help you. So we do all those services, which is awesome, and I'd love to talk about it later, but that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about marketing you. Which leads to my very first point of act like you own it. Number 1 is act like you own it. If you found your passion on a career or in a board or a nonprofit or anywhere, you feel led to make a difference, act like you own it. I don't care if you're the CEO or a volunteer or an intern or you just celebrated your 30-year work anniversary at said business, you talk about it with so much passion that people think that you own it. Acting like you own it doesn't mean taking credit for all the good things that happen or all the good in the community. I see your logo everywhere. You guys just must be doing so much. Well, my team and I are, and we're happy to be involved. A good leader or someone who acts like they own it is excited about their career. They believe in what they do. They're thrilled to see where the future leads, and they plan to be a part of it. All right, so how do you do that? Simply put, you be confident in yourself. So that's number 2. Be confident in yourself. In my role at Full Stadium, I get to sit down with business owners or people on the business team, I would say, and I ask a lot of questions. I say, who are you? What do you do? What sets you apart? How do you help people? And I can tell in about 5 minutes or less if they're confident because of the way they speak. If they say, I think this is where we're going, or I would really like to see this happen. I usually know that it might last for a couple months, and then if somebody squats on their idea, they're done because they're not confident in it. An ideal client, which is a confident one, is excited about what they do. They have so much passion or care about the people that they serve, and they hit false prefaces or misconceptions about who people think their business is or who people think they are head on. They don't stray from it. They say it in the meeting, and they say, this is what people think, and this is the truth, and I need you to communicate that with people. That's what I want to do. How you speak about your career and your attitude matters. It matters to your clients. It matters to your employees. It matters to the people considering even doing business with you. You are in control, so you choose your words wisely and show others and yourself that you are confident in you and your business or your skill set. Act like you own it. Building confidence in yourself is something you'll probably most likely never perfect. It's something that you get to practice every single day. So whenever Leslie asked me to do this a few months ago, I've never told her this story, but we were in a boardroom or in a conference meeting for the chamber, and she was excited about this event. She had a smile on her face. I remember she said, we're going to do this women's conference, and it's going to be a live event at Wabash Valley, and we're going to have speakers from the community come, and we're going to invite all these businesses and employees. And as she was going down the topic list on the paper, I saw marketing at the bottom, and she turned to me and said, I was hoping Mallory would do that one. And I am embarrassed by my response during that board meeting. I shrugged my shoulders at the table, and I crinkled my forehead, and I said, I think I even let out like a, oh boy. And I cringe when I think of that response. I'm glad it happened, so that way I can look back and say, I will never do that again. But I'm embarrassed. I'm human, and I know that, like most of you, public speaking is probably not your most favorite thing. And that was my initial reaction. But I wish I would have thanked her for the opportunity and told her how flattered I was to speak on marketing. It's something that I do every single day. It's something I love, and if you know me, you know I love it. And honestly, I would have been bummed if she would have asked someone else to speak on it. Underneath all of the uncomfortableness of stepping 2 steps up on a stage and having people stare at you and you have to talk, it's still an opportunity to, one, public speak, something I don't love to do, and it's something that I am good at, and I get to talk about it and try to help others do the same. My shoulder shrug, forehead wrinkle, and oh boy, is exactly what I do not want you to do as a woman in business. Don't shy away from the spotlight. Don't deny a compliment when it's thrown your way, and don't avoid the hill in front of you. Instead, be confident and just show up. And that's my third point. Show up. Show up consistently. In addition to being a marketing director, I am a co-facilitator of the Mount Carmel CEO program, and all the ladies from CEO are here today. And by the way, CEO is a dual credit business class for juniors and seniors in high school, and it's an amazing program. But on Tuesday, we got to go to the, I'm gonna back up for a second. For those of you not familiar with the CEO program and what goes into it, I'm gonna ask you guys some questions. Will you just respond with your answer? Okay. So besides the point of like opening your own business and being a CEO as a junior or senior in high school, what time does class start? 7:15 in Mount Carmel, 7 a.m. in Edwards County, or anywhere outside of Mount Carmel. How many times a week do we meet? 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. Do we always meet in Mount Carmel? No, sometimes we're in Albion or Grayville, so that's 7 a.m. Are we allowed to wear yoga pants, denim, or tennis shoes? No. So we are always dressed business, professional, or casual, just like they are today. And I speak for myself and a lot of these young entrepreneurs because I took the class myself. I was once in their seat. Sometimes it's a struggle just to get there in the morning. That is a hill. We just took our CEO team to Evansville on Tuesday for an IOGA conference, which is Illinois Gas, what is it? Illinois Oil and Gas Association Trade Show. And we went to talk to a few guest speakers, but they have a huge trade show that we got to actually walk through because in April, they'll have their own trade show with their booths and things. And whenever we sat down in this room to listen to these guest speakers, I absolutely adored one. His name was Barry. He was probably in his late 70s. And I wish that I could set up a date with him and just eat steak and listen to his wise life advice. But I didn't get his number, so I guess I'm not going to call him. He spoke about the importance of showing up wherever you want to be involved, whether it's a sport, a class, a board, or in your career. Even if sometimes just showing up means overcoming some sort of a hill. You don't feel like going, you have so much going on or better things to do. The last time you went, it didn't feel as productive as you would have liked. It may feel like 90% of the time, you didn't even really need to be there. Maybe you didn't talk much, or at practice, you didn't do a whole lot. Or you feel like the meeting could have been an email, for crying out loud. It counts that you showed up. Because you showed up, someone was reminded that they meant to talk to you about something with business a few weeks ago, and they saw you at the meeting, so I'm gonna talk to you now. You got to start in the next game because you showed up, or you were asked to be a lead in the next project. You may never know what 10% actually mattered or made a difference, but you'll never have the opportunity or chance if you're never even present. In life, you represent more than just yourself wherever you show up. You represent your business. My last talking point digs into the fact that you represent your business wherever you go. You represent your business wherever you go, especially in tight-knit communities. When you show up to a meeting and you're not prepared for your speaking point, people know. I'm down here. What's your name? I'm Mallory. Nice to meet you. Can I ask why you attended the women?
I just wanted to be able to network with other women.
Okay, well, it's nice to meet you, and I'm glad you're here. I picked her out whenever she came up here to get her gift, her door prize, because of her outfit. It is rockin'. She looks good in it. When you come into a room and you smile and you shake someone's hand and you ask their name and you chit chat, it's intentional. People remember that. It's impactful. Women are typically good at relationships. Ashley kind of hit on this, but we get this urge or this nudge when someone speaks or someone has a great outfit. Like, I want to be their friend. I want to know them. We're pretty good at saying, I'll buy your coffee or I'll buy your lunch. Lean into that as a woman, as you have that gift. So nurture the relationships that you worked hard to build, even if it's as simple as buying someone's coffee. Their time is the most valuable thing that they can give you. So if you're asking for it, make the most of it. You may never receive a pat on the back, a thank you so much for being friendly, or any kind of compliment at all, and that's okay. Getting the praise wasn't the point of giving the compliment in the very first place, but your positive attitude and your wow factor, that extra thing that you did, not only reflects on you, but reflects on your business and reflects on how you work with people. To wrap things up, I have hats of life, and I meant to bring a little mirror, but I don't have it, so we're just gonna put it on. Put this down here. One thing you may not have thought of as a woman in business is that your attitude and your actions are present wherever you go, but they're on you at all times, even outside of the work setting, even past 5 o'clock p.m. So, let's see, where was I starting? I'm gonna start with this white one. All right, and I'm gonna put this up here. So you're a mom, you're a wife, Oh wait, I think I was gonna do wife. I'm a mom. I'm a member of church. I'm a manager in my workplace. I'm at the golf course a lot. I'm a coach. I'm a member at the local gym, and this is Hunter, so I think it's got some sweat on it. That's okay though. And I said I'm a mom, but I'm not, which I wanted to bring up in this of, I've got a lot of hats in here that I haven't even put on yet. This one still has a tag on it. So whenever I get to those new stages in life, I'm not gonna say, I'm not gonna buy that. I'm not gonna pick up another hat. I'm gonna put it on because then we get this crazy ginormous hat of all these things. And when you're at the dinner table with your family, it's great to put away your laptop to be present at dinner. That's great work-life balance. That's healthy. But you don't get to take things off. You just get to shift the hats. And you put on one ginormous hat called life, and you juggle it all. And that is what makes you a fantastic, extraordinary woman. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mallory.
Thank you. I feel like I should call out Brittany and our local businesses, but
It's like a theme. Someone ran into me in the hallway and they said, you know, are you nervous? You feeling okay? And I really do feel good, but I think I have a support from a good group of people. I also know most of the people in here. But the time that I'm the most stressed for public speaking is definitely during Little Miss Ag Days. Because if you call little Mia, little Maya, they do let you know. They will let you know you've made a mistake and you've ruined their life. So, so far no one has hunted me down here today, so that's good. I also wanted, the last store prize, let's do that. Find your ticket, don't lose your ticket. 434. Yay, Shelby. You guys probably remember me and Shelby. I was her driver in the homecoming parade last year. We're pretty tight. Just because I saw her mom at the gym and she was stressing out trying to figure out how Shelby was going to make it down the street in the parade. And I said, I'll do it. And I think we used the Turner's van or Jeep. So we really came full circle. Okay, also I'd like to thank Kelsey for everything she does. Talking about people in the workplace, she doesn't know what she's coming to in the morning. Is it going to be over caffeinated Leslie, excited Leslie, stressed out Leslie? Is Leslie going to be singing a song? Are we listening to hard rock that day? Is there going to be Snoop Dogg on the radio? She just really doesn't know what she's walking into. So every day is different in our office. And we do switch so often. We go from, you know, the day after a big event, the next day in the office, we've moved on to the next event. We don't have time to do a big recap, you know, put the money in the bank and let's move on. That's kind of how we move things. Unload the trailer and let's go. It's time for the next thing. So a very fast-paced environment, but I am very appreciative of her and everything she does to keep our office running. Also, thank you to Danielle. She helped her with the registration process this morning. Thank you to Luke. We gave him a shout out. And then also a personal thank you to my Luke. My son has been in and out throughout the morning and he's in charge of ice. So all your cold beverages are thanks to Luke Hipster today. I think he's off the clock now, so hopefully they're cold at this point. Anyway, thank you all so much for coming. We're so happy to bring together women today and talk about empowering, inspiring, and getting you just together for some networking and new connections and communication. We hope that we will see you next year, hopefully at the second annual Southeastern Illinois Regional Women's Conference. Make sure you have your goodie bag when you leave. There are boxed lunches out in the lobby. There's several seating areas that you can enjoy, or if you need to get back to your next thing of the day, please feel free to take your boxed lunches with you. And whatever you do today, just be sure to enjoy a little bit of International Women's Day. Thank you.